For the past 10 years, my life has revolved around a single video game. I've spent over 10,000 hours mastering it as a competitive player and a full-time YouTuber. I thought that kind of dedication was the key to success, but it almost led me to a complete breakdown instead. Along the way, however, I learned 5 crucial lessons about practice, confidence, failure, and what actually matters in life. And the very first lesson began with a simple yet flawed idea. During my first 500 hours of Rainbow Six Siege, I was a firm believer in outworking people. My idea of this was simple: just play the game more than everyone else. I thought that practice and playing were the same thing. The more hours that I grinded, the better I would get. The truth is, I wasn't really outworking anyone. I was just playing the game. And in reality, I was avoiding all the actual work I needed to improve. I wasn't studying the game or trying to learn strategy. I was just fixing surface level mistakes while trying to improve on my mechanics. That really only works for so long though. Eventually I made it to a level of competition where the cracks in my foundation started to show. The biggest crack of all? Well, it was only my entire philosophy on how to play the game. No biggie, right? The problem here is I had learned to only play for kills. My strategy relied on the enemies being worse than me because I had no system for creating my own success. I had to strip away years of bad habits and relearn the game from the ground up. My new focus became dedicated practice for skills like positioning and timing, and not just hoping that they would improve on their own. This is why deliberate practice is so important to me now, because getting good at something isn't just about hammering out hours with zero thought. It's about first learning how to do that thing properly and then developing the skills to continue doing that thing well. If you told me to hit the gym before my R6 journey, I'd probably pick up a barbell, load up some weights, and just see how much I can lift. But now I'd find a trainer to show me the right way to do it. It might be harder at first, and I definitely won't lift as much weight, but my skill ceiling will be so much higher if I practice the skills properly right from the start. That way I can gain the skills to lift more weight later on, and I won't injure myself along the way. Putting in the work doesn't just mean showing up. It means investing your time to do it right and practice effectively. As a result of this, you'll be much more efficient with your time and get good at things really fast. For a really long time in my competitive career, I wrestled with this deep anxiety that came from just being underprepared. With any lack of real preparation, I would load into my ranked game or even a competitive match just hoping my aim was on that day. You know, I'd hype myself up, being like, oh, you got this, man, you're the best, you're gonna slam these guys. But deep down, I was shaking, bro. Playing a map I didn't quite know as well as others, I would start to shake. Being in a clutch situation where all eyes were on me would add even more pressure. I didn't have any real confidence, it was just this false sense of it. The second we get dominated one round or I'd lose a clutch was the same second that false confidence would shatter. Reality would hit. I'm just not good enough. And the rest of the match was just fighting through that feeling of defeat before you're even halfway through the game. This feeling would come back again and again throughout my competitive career, but it only ever came against teams that I thought were better than mine. It was never against teams you knew you could beat. But that well-spent time on deliberate practice changed everything for me. It led me to one major outcome that I did not have before. This unshakable confidence. It was a new kind of confidence that was built on the knowledge that I had truly done the work that mattered. Let me give you the best example I have of this. The year is 2020, and my team has just fought our way to the grand finals of the Canadian Challenger League. This is by far the biggest match of my career, and for me, winning meant everything. Keep in mind, at the time, I'd committed my entire life to competitive Siege. I dropped out of university, I lost my job to COVID, and I was going all in on this one dream. And to be clear, this is one of the riskiest and dumbest decisions a person can make, but I believed in myself, and I had to at least try. The point is, I was going into this finals to prove to everyone, including myself, that I can make this dream a reality. There was just one problem. The team we were going up against, on paper, was way better than us. The old me would have been a nervous wreck, just hoping for a miracle that we come out on top. But this time, things were different. For the 2 weeks leading up to that final, I invested all my time studying the other team. I learned every attack they did, every defense setup they used. I tracked their patterns, their strategies, and created fully customized counters to use against them. Then my team and I spent those weeks practicing those strategies down to the most minute detail. We knew exactly what needed to happen in order for us to win. And because we had invested our time preparing, my confidence was at an all-time high. We may have lacked individual skill in direct comparison to them, but the truth was, because of our preparation, we were the better team. Because of that confidence, we went out there and we won the grand final, baby.
Find the bar.
That pressure of the past 2 weeks was finally over with, and you could tell by our screams of joy just how much it meant to us. That hype was the validation of all our hard work and preparation. The people that didn't see that work, they're gonna talk. They'll say that the other team threw, and that our team is garbage, and that we didn't deserve it. I read all the comments, but none of that matters at all, because we knew we deserved it. And that was enough. And during the match, we weren't frantic. When we lost rounds, we didn't tilt. We were calm because we trusted the plan. That deep, unshakable confidence is what carried us through the chaos. And that's when I learned the real difference. That external celebration was only possible because of the internal state that got us there. Because true confidence is just that, a quiet inner readiness that's born from the peace of mind that you've already done the work. It's like walking into a test knowing that you've studied and prepared, rather than walking in and just hoping the questions are easy. That's the piece I want to bring to everything in my life, and it's why I meditate. That's the daily, deliberate practice for my mind, and it gives me the inner confidence to deal with whatever situation I might find myself in. Because I learned in that grand final, and have confirmed every day since, that true, unshakable confidence only ever comes from one thing: preparation. Now, knowing the power of preparation and the true confidence it brings, I'm thinking, all right, that's it. That's the final piece of the puzzle. All I have to do now is hard work for the rest of my life, and everything should just fall into place. Beautiful. But oh, how naive I was. And only if it was that simple. The truth is, no matter how much you prepare, success is never guaranteed. And most of us already know this. But for me, I learned it the long and hard way. Because after winning that grand finals, the Canadian League merged with the American League to create the North American Challenger League. What this meant for me was a massive spike in competition, and one that I was prepared to take on. Between my 5 teammates, I was one of the 2 that didn't get dropped from the roster, and we picked up 3 new players as fresh talent. This is the moment that preparation mentality kicked into overdrive. Knowing now that I have the power to change the outcome of these matches through just preparation, I started investing all of my time into studying the game. I'd watch the best players in the game, create new strategies, theory craft, and learn the game from every single angle. I was committed to us becoming the greatest team. Over the next year, our team went from average skill to some of the best players in the league and a very stacked roster. We even beat the best team in the league to save our playoff chances.
Off. Let's go, Pops!
All we had to do now was win against the worst team on our best map. And we lost. All the preparation, all the hard work, it felt like it was for nothing. We didn't qualify for playoffs, meaning our chances of Pro League had completely vanished, and even worse, 3 of my 5 teammates left, meaning we didn't have enough players on our roster anymore to even keep our spot in the league next season. And just like that, my 2-year run in Challenger League was officially over. In the years that followed, trying to understand what went wrong, I had to face an even harder truth than the loss itself. This wasn't just bad luck. Throughout our team's history, I would be frustrated with teammates who were late or slack off or just not take it as seriously as I did. I felt like I was putting in all this work just to be ignored half the time. In my mind, I was providing every single thing we need to be completely unstoppable. But my need for control was actually tearing apart the team from within. It brought people down, it slowed our progress, and it wasted away our practices over useless fights that never went anywhere. Ultimately, that's what lost us the league. My need to control everything, born out of my own insecurities, stopped us from achieving what we were truly capable of. And that's when I finally understood. There are times you've done everything right. You've outprepared everyone in the lobby, and you will still fail. You will still lose, and that's life. No matter how prepared you are, you can't control the outcome. And you definitely can't control other people. All you can do is control your own actions and your own mind. Trying to control everything else will only make your success less likely. And yet, here's the incredible irony of it all. That painful, devastating loss was also the best thing that's ever happened to me. Losing Challenger League was the ultimate turning point. Shortly after that, I dedicated my focus to content and became a full-time content creator as a result. Pretty sweet. It's also what sparked the personal growth that has impacted my life for the better in so many ways. It proves that what felt like my biggest failure was actually the greatest win of my life. Admittedly, it's taken a lot of time to kind of shed away these layers of control, and even now I'm still trying to get to the full freedom from having control. I'm not perfect, you know? But facing this need to control everything eventually leads to one critical question. If you can't control people, what are you supposed to do? Just let everything fall into chaos, let everyone do whatever they want? Well, my answer to myself for a long time, well, exactly, that's why I need to control everyone, because that can't happen. And thinking like this justified my actions. But the answer isn't to give up, and the answer, of course, isn't to control everyone. The answer is actually learning how to lead, which I'd been doing wrong my entire life. I used to be a team dictator. Anything less than perfection is not good enough. I saw every moment as an opportunity to improve, and if we're not milking every single ounce of efficiency out of it, then we're gonna be outworked. If you're late or you're slacking, I'm gonna get pissed off. I wanted everyone to be clear on one thing. If you're not here to win, you're in the wrong place. This direct intensity and frustration, so much frustration, it only slowed things down. I had a complete blind spot of how inefficient my bad attitude actually was. You see, it doesn't matter how competitive these people were or how much criticism they say they can take. This is a group of emotional human beings, and I was treating them like robots. It doesn't matter that what I was saying was logical and made sense to me, because it wasn't constructive. It wasn't helping anything. It was only damaging and delaying our progress. You can't program people with computer code. You have to connect to their humanity. A dictator points out your flaws and tells you to fix them. A leader brings them up at the appropriate times and provides you the resources to improve. A dictator demands results. A leader asks other people what they need to succeed. A dictator punishes failure. A leader uses it as a moment to teach everyone. Instead of yelling at a teammate for making a bad decision, let them figure it out on their own. And if they can't, just ask them if they want some advice instead of shoving it down their throat. This is something I've implemented into my own life. Treating people with humanity is now my #1 priority with every interaction. Ideally. We need to act and speak in accordance with this if we're trying to achieve what we want to do. And guess what? Everyone's gonna be happier because of it. At some point between being a dictator and becoming a leader, my YouTube career took off. My dedication to learning the game and understanding it on such a deep level proved to be useful for teaching others how to play it. Who would have thought? My quick tips and strategies gave the average player skills to improve, and my channel was doing well because of it. This was an entirely new chapter of my life. And boy, was I excited. I was hitting subscriber goals that I had only dreamed of, and to my 10-year-old self, I was the coolest person alive. But there was one motivation among all the rest. That 100,000 subscriber plaque. It became the ultimate symbol of everything I was working towards. This would be the validation that I had finally made it. And then one day, I hit 100,000 subscribers. I had achieved a milestone I never thought possible for myself. Holding that plaque, I had finally felt worthy of all of the hard work. For about a week. And then the excitement just faded away, and it was replaced by this hollow dissatisfaction. What's next? 1 million? That seemed like literally forever away, and it's not something that was driving me forwards by any means. I was looking for the next artificial motivation to keep myself moving forward. More money, a higher subscriber count. Why am I doing any of this? Well, answering that question took a lot of time and thought. I had to look past all the external goals, the rank, the sub count, the views, and think about the moments where I truly felt submerged in the work. What made me feel alive? Once I did that, the answer was pretty clear. I realized that It was the process. I fell in love with learning the game, improving at it, and turning R6 into a science that I could then share with others. This was my new motivation, my driving factor. From here, I would just help people improve at the game I love. Now making the videos gave me a purpose, and it gave me the satisfaction of doing something that matters. Isn't that what we're all kind of looking for? I stopped looking at my subscriber count, and I stopped comparing it to other creators. I stopped caring about the channel and only started caring about what I was creating. But then the game got worse. At the top ranks, cheaters completely took over the game. Soon, almost every match I played was infested with them, and this game that I used to know and love turned into this ungoverned wasteland. Suddenly, being good at the game, in my mind, was a bad outcome. Why would you invest your time getting better and improving at a game that, once you get to the top, is nearly unplayable? It seemed like a recipe for disaster, and I was the chef serving up this plate of hot ass to my community. And then I realized that being good at video games, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter. Now don't get me wrong, seeing people watch the videos and have actual improvement and celebrating in their wins with them is still rewarding. But this discomfort just started creeping in, because I know exactly what's waiting for these people once they get to the top. And it's the same unplayable game. It's the same potential burnout and that feeling of, is this it? That I was experiencing myself. I felt like I was selling a broken dream. And that is what led me to a truly terrifying thought. If the end goal of being good at Siege doesn't matter, and that's all I'm teaching, then my work doesn't matter. And if my work doesn't matter, then I don't matter. That thought is what sent me into a spiral. My passion for the game vanished, and now my R6 channel started to feel like it was just a job. Something I had to just clock in for and get over with, because it didn't feel honest or helpful in a real way anymore. I felt empty. Honestly, it took a while to climb out of that hole, and I did it by answering that same terrifying question. What actually matters? What makes my life successful? For years, it was chasing that next milestone, that next big video, the fucking social blade rank. But the answer isn't a subscriber plaque or millions of views. It's the time that I have. The time I can now spend with my friends and my family, the people that truly matter. It's being able to take the day off work and go pick someone up at the airport and be grateful that I got to see them. It's showing the people in my life that I love that they are the most important thing to me. That's my biggest success. My work in life is to keep them happy, keep them safe, and become the best version of myself that I can be for them. And that's why I'm here. Daily Upgrade is the next step in my journey of building upon that meaning through my work. My new deliberate practice is learning these lessons of personal growth, and my new teaching is sharing them with you. I want to become a better man, a better partner, and for my future kids, a better father. And I can start working on that right now. Why would I wait? So this is me sharing that process in hopes that it provides real value to someone like you. And if that's a journey you want to be a part of, welcome to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.